Hi guys.
He's the man with the third nipple.
So today we're talking about the man with the third nipple. It's the ninth James Bond movie.
It featured Christopher Lee
with
for
the third
some reason.
With a third nipple.
Yeah. He's an assassin and he has a third nipple, and that's the most notable thing about him.
And that's, and then the episode over. So, we're having a hard time here, guys. We're trying really hard to like Roger Moore.
I feel like I'm in a like bad relationship where I keep getting burned. And then I come back and I'm like, no, he's gonna be better to me this time. You know, we made mistakes, but we're gonna be better.
He's gonna learn. He's gonna change. He has so much potential.
And then I get burned again, and then I leave and I come back and I'm like, no, he's gonna be better this time.
It's good for the first 20 minutes, and then you're like, oh, it's fine. Everything's fine.
And then by the end, you're like, you know what? This is why I was out last time.
This is why I knew it. That's the perfect way to describe it. Oh my god, yeah. So I think Christopher Lee is the best part of the movie for sure.
Yeah, he's pretty
trying.
good.
He's doing his best with what he was given.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I will say positive. Starting off positive.
Yeah.
Say positive. How do you give compliments? Or how do you give critique? Positive, sandwiched with a negative, with another positive slice of bread on top.
I will say, like, this one's not good, but I can at least say some positive things about it compared to the last one. They
have a super cool German expressionist intro.
Yeah.
Like, I do really like Christopher Lee's, like, weird, like, arcade laser tag arena that he puts off everyone into.
That needs to be, like, my bedroom in the future. Just have a little, like, cowboy thing pop up at anyone who comes in to, like, ask if I want dinner.
Which, like, I know you guys out there are like, Evelyn, you're so funny, She means it. If anyone,
I would do that
she
in a heartbeat.
means it. Yeah.
I have a little like wax sculpture of Roger Moore that I can shoot at.
Yeah.
He's dead. I shouldn't be making fun of that.
Wow, Evelyn, you're being the worst. I'm just kidding.
I'm gonna get canceled 3 times before this Bond series is over.
Yeah, Evelyn, jeez. So this film, it plays into, it's not quite as, like, you know, with the last film, it was just very, like, attempting to be blaxploitation.
Yeah.
But the thing is about this is that this time it's just trying to be, like, this pseudo martial arts film.
Yeah.
So talk to us a little bit about that, Evelyn, because that was...
Yeah, so, this was kind of around the era that, what year was this? 73?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so this was like around the era that like Hong Kong martial arts films were really kind of catching on in the main like in the Western market. Mm-hmm. And so with this era, we talked about Bond kind of looking at what was popular and kind of like copying that and attempting to like find its new stride in its environment. And so this one they honestly like it's very like tertiary to a lot of the film because they send Bond to Hong Kong to hunt down or he goes to Hong Kong to hunt down some information on Christopher Lee, and he ends up working with this Chinese agent, and he ends up at a martial arts school and he gets in a fight with some guys. And honestly, like, I don't know, like the fight wasn't as problematic as I was worried it was going to be for a minute. Like, he's wearing a karate gi and he fights a guy.
Yeah, but I will say, the rest of it's a lot. Because, I mean, all of the films lean into this whole British colonialism kind of thing. It's all but implied throughout, like, all of the other Bond films. But this is when you start getting a real sense that, like, that there's an undertone to that.
Yeah.
Especially with, like, Hong Kong and British relations.
Yeah, Hong Kong has a whole interesting... Like, I mean, this isn't a history podcast, and I'm not a historian, so, like...
Give us, like, as much as you can.
So, basically... in the 1800s, you know, like China they kind of opened trade with the West for the first time, and so a bunch of the like Western nations were trying to kind of establish their own hold, trade-wise and territory-wise in China, which led to like a lot of, like, you know, this was the era when colonization was very bad, just in general, and basically, I can't again. I'm not a historian. I don't know the details, but this was when like England and other Western nations kind of started introducing opium into Chinese markets, basically to create addicts, to ensure that there would always be someone willing to take British goods or Western goods to make sure that they could get more opium in.
Yeah.
And that whole thing happened, and by this time, this was the 70s, so a little bit of time had passed. But Hong Kong remained a British territory until 1997. And even today, like a lot of the political stuff that's going on in Hong Kong is the result of them being this country that was kind of always part of China, but sort of not.
Yeah.
And that's kind of a direct holdover from having had that British flag planted there for so long.
Yeah.
And so this film doesn't really tackle that directly, but contextually, just having a British film happen in Hong Kong in the 70s when it was still a British territory. Or I think it's Macau, which isn't technically Hong Kong, but it's like near.
Yeah.
But yeah, it adds an interesting context
to the film, and it feels like it's more overtly a part of the subtext than quietly part of the subtext, if that makes sense. But yeah, so I think the biggest crime about this movie is that it's fucking boring.
Yeah, it is very boring. Like, this is one I remember, like, if you played, like, any of the Bond games, like GoldenEye or whatever, like the golden gun was always this cool power-up that you got. And so I was, like, 11 or 12, and I'm like, oh, this is the movie with the golden gun. That's going to be so cool.
Wow.
And I rented it from, like, the library, and I literally did not remember a single thing about this film except for, like, the ending fight scene.
Yeah, and, like, whoo. Then, that, or like we said last time, racist cop man shows up for a car chase that he didn't need to be a part of.
Yeah, they like bring him back, and he's with his wife, and they're like on vacation.
Toward Asian people.
And he says a bunch of epithets, and like he may get I think he got arrested by the Chinese police, which like means he's probably not going to be alive shortly after this film. But like, which like
the Chinese police are just gonna like.
They go kind of hard.
Yeah.
So
Support Hong Kong, everyone. So the other thing about this film that makes it boring is this is like, so Roger Moore Bond women kind of hit this one note.
Yeah.
In which they're all just kind of like bumbling fools. And that's really fucking annoying to watch for a really long time, and that's really annoying because everybody talks like the Sean Connery Bond is the one with all the problematic women because he ends up sleeping with the women. But I think it's interesting that Roger Moore slips under the radar because the women in his films are just characterized as so stupid. Like, you have like two Bond women who look the exact same.
I couldn't remember who was who in this movie.
Yeah, one of them gets killed right away. Goodnight is like an idiot and just kind of like wanders around aimlessly asking James Bond for direction. Like it's just so frustrating.
In the Sunday Mirror, when they reviewed this movie, they described Mary Goodnight as being an astoundingly stupid blonde British agent.
Yeah, 100%. It's so like...
She doesn't do a lot.
She doesn't do anything. She doesn't do like a damn thing, and it's so like stupid, and it's so frustrating. I'm so annoyed. I'm just annoyed.
Weird. Like, one of the like interesting parts about this movie was Hervé Villechaize as the sidekick to Christopher Lee, I guess, and he's a little person who It's interesting the relationship he has to Scaramanga, Christopher Lee's character, because the way they interact is almost it's not like he's an underling.
Yeah.
Like when he sets up people to go get taken out by Christopher Lee, it's very clear that like he's using their perception of him to lull them into a false sense of security so Christopher Lee can take them out, and like he talks to him at the start, and he's like, "Oh, that was a pretty good run. You're gonna go after Bond now," and it's like it's just interesting how like at least on that level they almost had something, and again like this era they don't really use it like they could have, but
Yeah.
And also, we talked about Hervé Villechaize being just an interesting person to look up his like.
Oh yeah, he would fight child abusers.
Yeah, he was like an advocate against like child abuse in the 70s and 80s, and would like show up and comfort kids and like tell their abusers who's gonna beat the crap out of them and stuff.
Which, like, I love that. But then, of course, the very end, James Bond puts him in a suitcase. And
that's a little demeaning.
Throws him off a side of the.
Yeah, and
no,
again,
he puts him up in the little thing.
Yeah, and again, that establishes like, just rhythm wise, this is the era where I think the Bond films don't. A lot of stuff happens that doesn't really like affect anything.
Yeah.
Because it's like he defeats him and then.
Because it also, at a certain point, it just feels like things are fucking happening.
Yeah, things are happening because action movie, not because they have any bearing on like the story or.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is really frustrating. I mean, what's interesting and frustrating, because when you look at the Bond films as, like, pseudo-Hitchcockian films, like, you have this setup in which, you know, there's a MacGuffin entity in the Bond films, but the twist is that it matters and the details about it matter. In this, it just feels like there's no real MacGuffin and things are just kind of happening.
Yeah. And, like, even that, like, in the Connery films, the MacGuffin mattered, but there was still that, like, subtext that mattered more.
Yeah.
Whereas in these, it feels like that's like the only thing that matters. Like, it's literally just about Bond and this guy with the golden gun, and there's no like reason or subtext or journey or anything.
Yeah, and it's like so weird.
Also, I pointed out this is when like Roger Moore's Bond is kind of a like dick compared to Sean Connery, because like Connery would threaten people and he'd do stuff, but he was always
be like snarky and bitchy.
He had a snarky way of doing it, but he always like. He had an amicable Sean Connery way about him, whereas Roger Moore, he like he's threatening to shoot a guy's manhood off with a rifle, and he just like he plays it kind of seriously, and it's like the guy is ostensibly a like bad guy, like he's an arms dealer and all this stuff, but he just comes off. Roger Moore just comes off as so like it's less fun and it's more just him being mean.
Yeah.
And then, like they're during a chase, he like pushes a small child out of the boat, and I'm like, this is our good guy. This is James Bond.
Which one was it? It's not this one, but which one was it where he fucking throws the cat?
That was Diamonds Are Forever.
Was that Diamonds Are Forever? That was Sean Connery.
Yeah.
I just remember
kicks Blofeld's cat.
He like drop kicks Blofeld's cat, and it turns into a prop for a half a second. It's like right here.
But even then, like Sean Connery could like drop kick a cat and not come off as like dickish as Roger Moore is when he's just threatening a bad guy.
That's a good point. Also, I don't know. Like, I think Christopher Lee is doing a great job.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know what he like. And this isn't a Christopher Lee problem. I don't know what he wants. I don't know what he's trying to do. I don't know.
I will say this is a better movie than the Satanic Rites of Dracula, but like that's not saying much.
Yeah, it's just like it's just so weird. I'm just so confused. I'm so confused.
Yeah, like we said, this is kind of an identity crisis period for the Bond movies.
We're in the Dark Ages.
Oh, we forgot to mention. So the racist guy ends up like the cop from the last movie. He ends up like in a car with Bond, and he's like, "Oh, this guy's terrified and funny," while Bond's doing all this action movie stuff. And
like,
and Bond does like he jumps off a ramp and like the car like corkscrews and lands on another ramp, and that would be a cool visual. But someone in the sound department decides, you know what this needs?
A slide whistle. Yeah, and so it goes and it's like, pew, and it's like what?
Yeah, it was like so amazingly non sequitur that it was kind of beautiful, actually.
And I also love like Roger Moore. It's so funny because Roger Moore has this like. This very, like, it's been in multiple, but they really focus on his reactions to the Bond women around him, and he's just so, like, confused and upset.
So, yeah, like, the part at the end where they're, like, diffusing the laser, and she, like, like she's bending over and she accidentally like bumps a button with her
ass,
butt.
like
and then Bond is just so clearly frustrated trying to tell her what to do to turn things off.
And I was like, man, I feel him here. Man, I really feel him here though. But yeah, so
yeah,
it's
the introductory and the ending sequences are pretty cool. Like if you just watch those and like cut out the rest.
They
of
lie
the
to you again though.
Yeah.
Because you're like, wow, this is gonna be pretty good. Wow. Like we said, it's a bad relationship.
Yeah.
But yeah, so also we got a lot of humor out of the theme song because it's so fucking literal. He is a man with a golden gun and he'll shoot you. I was like, what?
Yeah. And his third nipple.
His third nip. Tres nipple. Which is a plot point, by the way, and Bond uses it.
Yeah, Bond adds a third nipple to himself to, like, infiltrate a place.
And it's like, oh, okay.
Mostly this one is just very boring, and that's kind of unfortunate.
Yeah, it was really fucking stupid.
We need to just cut out on that.
It's really fucking stupid. Yeah, it's just, I don't understand. I don't know what's happening. I'm so annoyed. I'm fucking frustrated.
Yeah.
And I feel like I miss Sean. That's all I'm saying.
He was pretty good.
He was.
I'm gonna go watch some episodes of The Saint now.
Okay. That was the man with the third nipple.
Yep.
Thank you all for watching.
You know what'll make us feel better after this terrible Bond film is an almost okay-ish Bond film.
Oh my god, fuck. I don't know about that, but okay. Bye. Bye.